Welcome to another style study video. I am Matt, and in this video we are taking a look at style 1D American wheat beer. But before we do, I need to give my usual disclaimer, which is I do not represent the BJCP in any way, shape, or form. The BJCP does not endorse nor authorize this video or this series of videos. This is merely my documentation of my journey learning each style of beer in preparation for my exam to become a certified beer judge. So, with that, let us take a look at 1D American wheat beer. So, let's start with overall impression, which is refreshing wheat beers can display more hop character and less yeast character than their German cousins. A clean fermentation character allows bready, doughy, or grainy wheat flavors to be complemented by hop flavor and bitterness rather than yeast qualities. And jumping to the vitals for this, starting off with the SRM range, we have a range of 3 to 6. The IBUs go from 15 to 30. The OG is 1.040 to 1.055. And the finishing gravity is 1.008 to 1.013, giving us an ABV range of 4 to 5.5%. All right, now to what we're going to be filling out on our score sheet as far as their characteristics for this beer. Starting with aroma, we have a low, moderate, grainy, bready, or doughy wheat character. A light to moderate malt sweetness is acceptable. Esters can be moderate to none, although should reflect relatively neutral yeast strains. Banana is inappropriate. Hop aroma may be low to moderate and can have a citrusy, spicy, floral, or fruity character. No clove phenols. On to appearance, usually pale yellow to gold. Clarity might range from brilliant to hazy, with yeast approximating the German Weissbier style of beer, but long-lasting whitehead. And taking a look at flavor, it says light to moderately strong, bready, doughy, or grainy wheat flavor, which can linger into the finish. May have a moderate malty sweetness or finish quite dry. Low to moderate hop bitterness, which sometimes lasts into the finish. Balance is usually even, but may be slightly bitter. Low to moderate hop flavor, citrus, spicy, floral, fruity. Esters can be moderate to none, but should not include banana. No clove phenols. May have slightly crisp finish. I'm starting to see a pattern here is that they're trying to completely distinguish this from a German wheat like Hefeweizen. Just a guess. So finally, mouthfeel. Medium to light to medium body, medium high to high carbonation, slight creaminess is optional. Wheat beers sometimes have a soft, fluffy impression. All right, so of course there's comments, history, characteristic ingredients, and some style comparisons, but again, you feel free to read those on your own from the guidelines at bjcp.org. Let's take a look at what the commercial examples are. We have Bell's Oberon, Boulevard Unfiltered Wheat Beer, Goose Island 312, Urban Wheat Ale, and Widmer Hefeweizen, which is interesting considering the joke I just made. So I do have a commercial example. I have one I am very excited about. I shouldn't be excited like to be able to drink a particular beer because it kind of gives a bias, but I can't help it because I have got a Bell's Oberon. It's there's not much from Bell's I don't like. I'm sure I'm not alone in this. Oberon is a highlight. Two Hearted, of course, but we're not talking about Two Hearted. We're talking about Oberon. We're talking about American wheat. So we have a commercial example. I'm going to give it a pour. I'm going to reluctantly open this without tapping the can. Oh, okay. Maybe that actually doesn't do anything. And then I'm going to go through I have the list of everything you just saw on the screen to see how it compares to what I'm going to taste. And then I have my score sheet. And I'll talk about what I'm going to focus on the score sheet this time in just a minute. But let's give it a pour. Let's give it a competition pour. So there is the whitehead that we're going to probably expect to linger from the description we just read. But let's run through this best we can with this. Maybe I should stop doing competition pours on this and do them at the end. I think I just figured that out. But anyway, so aroma. So I'm definitely getting some maltiness. I'm not getting the grainy, bready, or wheat character specifically, but then again, look at the head on that. So that's probably yet to come. Low to moderate hop. I can get some hop through that. I can't really distinguish exactly what kind of hop or what characteristic. I'd say kind of a little citrus forward. In fact, actually, now that I say that, I'm getting a distinct orange, almost tangerine on that. So I'm getting the hop. Appearance, pale to yellow gold. Oh, that's gold. I mean, I think, let's see, compare it to my ring there. Well, that's a terrible comparison, but that I would call that gold. It's definitely gold. Brilliant to hazy. This is a little hazy. Even wiping off the condensation there, it's a bit hazy, especially compared to the other beers we've had in this category. Long-lasting white head. Yeah. Flavor. Okay, let's get the flavor. I might get some of this bready, doughy, grain flavor on the flavor. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I can't think of a better combination than what that highlight was, honestly. There's a really pleasant sweetness to this as well, which is going to be interesting to describe. Low to moderate hop bitterness. It might even be a little lower than low, like low to none almost in this. But I digress. Let's get into this so that we can get into the big score sheet. Mouthfeel, medium body. Feels a little thinner than medium, but it's also very cold. I just pulled this out of the fridge. I want to give this some time to warm up best I can in the time I have to score. And medium to high carbonation, yeah, I mean, we can kind of see that, but not that I'm giving myself excuse to keep tasting more Oberon. But that's all there. All right, so that was the quick run through. Let's get into the details on this. Now, I don't have a second sheet here. It's just a score sheet. I don't have any kind of descriptors or anything I'm going to work on. What I'm going to work on this time is something I talked about in the last episode, is that I'm going to proofread this. Not necessarily the score, because I think this is going to be a high score. It's very difficult for me to consciously not score this high knowing this is a commercial example from the guidelines. But what I can do and should do is proofread what I wrote, because I missed a word or two, and I kind of missed like an S in or a clear misspelling on that sheet. So I'm going to try to leave myself some time to proofread this time. Just another thing to work on making almost natural, like beyond a habit for when I get to the actual testing, the actual exam time. So that is what I'm going to focus on now. But you're not going to worry about watching all that, because I'm going to pause that video. I'm going to score this beer. I'm going to proofread this sheet, and then we'll be back to talk about it. All right, we're back, and I did pretty good on time there. Even with the proofreading, the alarm went off as I was just finishing up, and so we're going to say like 15 seconds over the 12-minute limit. I think I might increase my practice limit to 13 minutes, but that's a discussion for another episode. As far as I'm going to actually start at the end here and go with the proofreading. The proofreading worked out really well. I don't know that I had many misspellings that I recognized, but the two big things that stood out were just not being able to read some words. So I was able to erase those and write them neatly. The really big thing, and I wonder if I'll be able to find it. I think I'll be able to find it. Yeah, I think it was in the flavor, and I think I know the sentence here. The sentence clearly started down like one path, but then changed to another. The gist of what I wanted to say was there, but it's a very awkward sentence, and I was happy to be able to change that. And I don't know if I'll be able to remember what the original sentence said when I get to it. But two big factors right there: being able to clean up my handwriting and put a sentence in a better structure to express what I was trying to say. So that's another thing to add to my list of things to practice in my rotation is definitely proofreading. But now on the score, and let me get all my erasures off there. So score sheet, I filled out the usual suspects. Category 1, subcategory D, subcategory American wheat beer, entry number Oberon, bottle inspection was fine, comment was in a can. So aroma, here we go. Mild citrus tangerine hop aroma immediately detected. Faint malty bread crust character picked up on swirling the sample. 9 out of 12. And that's all I got. I have some room there to write more, but I just could not get anything out of the descriptors out of the aroma. So that's, again, coming with the vocabulary training and the working on how to. It's funny that I just stumbled over my words trying to say express the characters I'm finding in it. So just another thing to keep in mind as I go forward. Appearance, that was 9 out of 12. Appearance, rich gold in color, cloudy, bordering on hazy, which as I was writing, I wasn't sure if it's hazy first, then cloudy. I'm going to have to see what the consensus is in my brew club, which comes first, hazy or cloudy, and then I would possibly switch those two. Or maybe I wouldn't even use that descriptor if I'm not sure it's saying what I wanted to say, now that I think about it. Impressive, thick, clean, white head on pour that lasted through half of the tasting and receded to a strong layer of tight, white bubble foam. The one thing I would change in that is the halfway through tasting, because the person reading this has no idea how long that tasting was. So that made sense to me. It's a bad piece of feedback in my book, but that was a 3 out of 3 for the score. Flavor. Pleasant malt rich sweetness without being cloyingly sweet. A touch of fresh bready crust character. Sweet fruity citrus hops presenting tangerine and honeybell flavors. Orange flavor, sorry, I missed a word. I wrote it in there, I missed reading it. That sentence was, for clarification, sweet fruity citrus hops presenting tangerine and honeybell orange flavors. That was a sentence that I went on a different road. I don't remember what it said exactly, but it was, again, the gist was there, but it was such an awkward sentence. I was really glad I was able to go back and write that, because even though I had to read it twice, I think that sentence makes perfect sense on its own. It took a little thought the first time, if you were reading it, not being in my head, which goes for a lot of things. Sweet elements found mostly on the finish, and a firm bitterness and clean yeast profile presence on the palate. And that was a 19 out of 20. Mouthfeel, light body, just a touch thin on the tongue, well carbonated, a pleasant, smooth, soft coating creaminess throughout. A touch of carbonic bite enhances these citrus flavor elements. And that was a 5 out of 5 on mouthfeel. My overall impression, a touch light in body for style. An increase in wheat ingredients in the grist would raise the body and the aroma expected in this style. Well made, no process flaws found, which I always like noting that, and I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to write that on a test. I'm guessing maybe at least 2 or 3 samples. I need 3 different ways to say that. I always love giving that feedback in a score sheet for an actual competition, but for a test that needs to be worded differently. So more mental notes, and actually notes in the recorded for the future as well. So where to leave off? Well made, no process flaws found. Hop character is very enjoyable and a great compliment to the malt base. Should have written more there, but just couldn't think of any. And I wanted to see how much time it would take to proofread, less time than I thought. So at that point, I went back and proofread. It was 8 out of 10 for overall impression, which gave it a 44 out of 50, which puts it in the excellent range. Again, hearkening back to the last episode, if I were to re-review the scores, especially talking about how much I like the citrus flavor, I probably would have bumped up aroma another point, maybe even overall impression, probably would have knocked it right up into that outstanding range by the time I was done. But the proofreading this time was not about proving the score, or agreeing with the scores with myself, or setting my scores in stone. It was proofreading that this could be read, which the improvements were pretty significant. So I'm going to definitely have to budget like a good minute for that for each tasting when I get to test time. All right, we will continue this, breaking into a new style in the next video. It is style 2, starting off with 2A International Pale Lagers. And I only have one thing left to say, of course, is that thank you for watching this, and I'll be back with a new style study video very soon.